Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be taking another little look here at the physical LR androids. I wanted to try and run them once again on one of their 200% leader skills, so we're running the double LR Android 17s that fuse into Super 17. Maybe we can get some good, numbers out of them here, maybe get the exchange into 16, because I think my biggest criticism of this unit is how difficult that can sometimes be on the... Again, like going back to the recent video we did with like Fusion Zamasu, I feel like one of the main teams that you want to run them on is going to be the 21 team, just because this team is not a team you really run very often, or can even find friends for, even if you wanted to run it, right? So it'd be interesting to see how well they can actually do and what sort of numbers they can get here on the 200%, because I feel like they can put out some pretty good performance, especially 16, like we've seen the numbers that he does. But on the 21 team, like I say, which is going to be the team you're more likely to be running him on, because I feel like the unit does work really well on that team, right, with the support and everything. The problem is the team has a ton of healing, especially if you do start transforming the 21s, and then it can just become an absolute nightmare to get Android 16 actually out onto the field. And once he comes out, he can do some crazy stuff, but we just want to see if we can actually get him to come out. So using this team, we probably are more likely to lose a bit of health like here and there, right? Because, once we get to the AGL SYN, even though his AoEs aren't particularly powerful compared to the physical one, obviously the STR Android 17s are not great until they've gotten their supers off in terms of their defense. So they could take some damage that would help us drop below that HP threshold. So, I mean, you can see we've already lost a fair bit of HP here already. And then, of course, we have the rotation that we're going to run of the LR Metal Cooler and then Piccolo. So we should be doing okay overall, I think. I mean, these guys share only Fierce Battle, but we got a bunch of other androids and stuff on the team. So for now, we should be able to have these guys together here and at least get some decent showing in the first phase. I mean, obviously you can lower attack in the first phase, so it does make things a little bit easier for us here as well while we get our rotations set up. Didn't quite have everything, the way I would have wanted it on turn 1, but is what it is. I mean, at least with the Shadow Dragon event, well, I was about to say, actually, it's kind of a catch-22 situation, because with the Shadow Dragon event, we could just quit and come back in as many times as we want to get like a good starting rotation. Except, of course, as we've already said, we are running the double 17s team, so good luck actually being able to find a friend in the first place, let alone quit out, jump back in and find another one. And potentially even have to do that multiple times, right? The one that came up on the friends list was a 79% guest. And after the summons on the Android 21 banner, mine is now at 90%. So not too bad. Dodge this? Wow, great. I mean, they get defense with each super. They build up dodge chance with each attack. So they don't actually have to super to build up that dodge chance. But, I mean, they tanked that pretty well. He's already been attack lowered a fair bit here. And then these guys finish him off and go on to the AGL phase. I mean, overall, when it comes to the overall performance of the physical LR androids, I would say I've been very impressed with them. In fact, this is actually... I guess I could just leave them in the middle to get legendary power active, because this is Frieza's first turn, which funnily enough for this team, actually, getting LR Golden Frieza appearing on turn 3 is actually really good, because he doesn't start losing his damage reduction until the first turn that he comes onto the rotation. So this does actually work out really well for us, and the AoE being in slot 3 as well is actually really, really good. So remember, these guys, we have 270k defense start of turn. We are going to be raising attack and defense on both supers. We do get 78% when performing a super. Now, obviously, we have the extra super attack buff chance from the previous turn, because they get that for 3 turns, but they don't get their extra defense for the remainder of that turn until they dodge in that turn. So we are going to still have the chance to get the additional super, which is really good, because every time they, as they build up and add on this extra defense, it brings them up to a pretty reasonable level overall. And then, of course, they still have, as long as we started the turn above the HP threshold, which I'm fairly sure we did, they have the 50% chance to dodge in total. So, I mean, overall, like I say, I've been pretty impressed with these guys. Against, like, an int enemy, you absolutely can, for the most part, take the risk and just put them in slot 1. Get that dodge, ideally, on the first attack. and then get that defense buff for the rest of the turn. After they've supered their defense, they're comfortably tanking super attacks, especially if it is against an int boss. So, I mean, overall, definitely very, very solid. I've mentioned it in the previous showcase for them. I can obviously show the build again here. I think giving them as much dodge as possible is a good idea, because you want to get that dodge as soon as possible in the turn. As we said before in the initial showcase and everything, ideally the first attack they take of the turn, they dodge, because then that sets you up nicely for the rest of the turn. The worst case scenario is them taking a super as the first attack of the turn, because obviously you want to be able to, at least if they are going to get supered, you want to have them get a dodge in on that first attack, and then obviously get the extra 35% defense for the rest of the turn, which, I mean, in some situations that could literally be the difference between you living or dying, right, depending on how hard the boss's super is that you're going up against. So not too bad. Yeah, 100k. I was intrigued to see how much these guys would take, because remember, with each enemy that he hits, AGL SYN's AoEs actually do less damage, so the third person on the turn taking the hit is going to take the least damage. But obviously these guys being type disadvantage, I mean, 100k is honestly not that bad. It kind of puts us into this situation where, like I said at the beginning, I thought this team would be really good for potentially taking a lot of damage and getting us to the point where we're easily going to be able to get 16 out before the very end. But here we are, basically. I mean, Piccolo, if he supers again, yeah, Piccolo just showing what an absolute beast he is. Every now and then when I use Piccolo Jr. again, I remember why he's still in the conversation for being the best TUR, because we throw him in on this team. Now, obviously, on this rotation, when he's with Metal Cooler, he has a few links active, including Big Bad Bosses. But, like, you throw him onto any of these teams with extreme allies, and as long as he's got Big Bad Bosses, and then, like, sometimes he's going to have, like, Big Bad Bosses and Fierce Battle, and that's it. But he can absolutely manage with just that. So, now the problem we have here for this turn, these guys are, they have Chance to guard, right? Medium. Oof. Well, this could be a rough turn for them. I think what I probably will do here, if I throw a Whis out, I was going to, ideally, we wanted to try and play through this and just get, like, a no-item run against SYN if possible. But I think what we do here is we throw out the Whis, because then I think if their guard doesn't activate, they will probably still be taking damage from these normal attacks. And then that gives us, well, it's actually not as much as I thought. I was going to say that would potentially give us the opportunity so that when we get round to this rotation again, because we've had 2 turns of the Whis being active, we actually would be at the 66% HP. But unfortunately, Golden Frieza hasn't lost anywhere near enough damage reduction for the any attacks to do any damage to him, because obviously the Whis is giving us an extra 40%. So I think at this point he actually still just straight up has 100% damage reduction. But we do have the next rotation to go, which is slightly weaker, and obviously includes like Metal Cooler. Piccolo Jr., as much as he is a beast, has type disadvantage. Although, of course, if he gets supered after he multiple supers in a turn, he actually will still tank it pretty well with the Whis active. So there is that. I was kind of hoping he was just going to super like 16 and 18 at the end or something maybe, but I guess it is what it is. I think it's one of those things when it comes to these showcase videos with units that have transformations that are really hard to get, there's always a part of me that, like, we get a certain way through the run and it's like, should I like scrap this and try and redo it and try and get 16 like actually out in the fight? But I'm always in two minds, because it's one of those things, it's just like, this is a realistic showing of what happens if you jump into this event with this team. Like, I deliberately bought the Super 17s team because I thought we might have a higher chance of getting our, getting our 16 out, because we would potentially take a lot more damage from some of these phases, and then we haven't really seen it happen. So I don't want to get HP, but can I get 3 orbs if I don't grab? Can I get 3 key for the STR androids? I actually don't think I can here now. Will that rainbow drop the way I would like it to? It does. Okay, good. Alright, so, I mean, this turn we got Metal Cooler. His defense has built up a reasonable amount. But I was going to say, if he takes a super attack straight away, that would be bad. Yeah, I was going to say, because the AoEs against... we're just dead now. But fortunately, it was Metal Cooler that died and we revive. Unfortunately, that means that we revive with full HP. So, guess who's not coming out on this next turn again already? So, yeah, these are the issues that you face with any sort of HP restriction. The ones that are the best are, of course, the above a certain amount of HP, which, funnily enough, back in the day, those always seem like the most annoying ones to get, because in the hardest content, you could be hovering at a low level of HP for a reasonable amount of time. But in the level of difficult content that we have now, it often feels like, because a lot of units are just getting one-shot by the biggest boss super attacks, it then kind of feels like a lot of the time you're either at full HP or at, like, you know, maybe 90%, or you're, you know, just surviving the turn, and then you're obviously going to be able to get those HP restriction things active. But I mean, we have a pretty decent amount of defense on this turn overall. Well, the LR androids didn't dodge the AoE. They took way more damage than I expected. 110, damn. Okay. Oh wow, the 17's actually got the dodge. That's crazy. Yeah, they took way more damage than I expected from that AoE. I mean, obviously, again, they do get a lot of their defense on super. Did they... Actually, was that the first AoE? Did they not dodge an attack before? Because I guess that would make sense. But yeah, that's kind of funny. I mean, the STR, I was going to say, the STR-17's taking less damage from them is surprising, but I suppose it isn't really, considering they do have type advantage. But yeah, interesting. Be very interesting to see if we survive the turn, because it looks like if he is super attacking this turn, he's supering the 17s. And I mean, if they get enough attacks, they could just get a dodge, but yeah, it could be pretty spicy. I mean, because even if they super attack a bunch of times, the amount of defense they'll get for the turn won't be enough to just eat the super from SYN, because obviously he does lower defense on super as well. So ideally, we want them to get another super here, get the triple super, and then dodge if he does super attack them. And then we're going to be in an interesting spot here, because we do still need to survive the next rotation. Was he not going to super? Oh, okay. And now we get the Piccolo Giant form, which means we cancel out any potential super. We could actually, after all of this, we could actually clutch out getting Android 16. The only thing I need to make sure I do is we're going to have to go through the Giant form, then we'll be on the Piccolo Junior turn. We're not going to kill with Piccolo Junior, are we? Let me miss a super here and miss a super here. Let's see how much damage we actually do. Because, I mean, I guess to be fair, with the type disadvantage, if we're not getting crits, we're probably not doing much damage against him anyway. But it's the fact that we then have the rotation after he's finished, like after he's untransformed back to normal Piccolo Junior, we still have to play out that rotation. And now he can't super us because we got the super here. I don't know, was he doing any AoEs on this turn? Do we actually get one of those, like, clutch turns that he wasn't AoEing? Yeah, oh no, there's... Oh, they're all at the end. Okay, there was one at the beginning too. I just missed them, apparently. Because, yeah, the Piccolo, any giant form, is super clutch in this SYN fight, and obviously will be for Omega, because they basically have the same structure. Because now, not only can he not super us when we come out of this turn, but he can't AoE us either. So, we won't die on the next turn, hopefully. But we have to make sure that the combination of, like, Metal Cooler and Piccolo Junior together, with Piccolo Junior being gassed up with those links and everything, he absolutely could just kill Omega, because he could do, like, 4 supers and get crits and stuff, right? So I think the best thing to do is to miss supers with him here. It does also make the turn go faster, because we don't have to watch his super attack animations, right? So we'll get these attacks out of the way. Hopefully this is one of those things where we actually do get the bad RNG and we don't get an extra turn of the giant form, because obviously when you are doing a bunch of damage and just trying to finish off the event as quickly as possible, getting those extra giant form turns is good, but I don't want to do extra damage to him. Although, as you can see, if we're not critting with the giant form, as I already said, right, we're just not doing damage, so that's fine. But yeah, if we as long as we don't get an extra turn here, we're critting on the normals, but that's fine. We're not doing too much damage, so I think we should be all good. I've said it before many times when we're seeing the giant form stuff, but it is funny seeing the damage that they, like, would take, but it's, like, grayed out, right? He'd be taking 500k. Now, it's all going to come down to, are these guys going to guard? Because if they don't guard, will they live? They greatly raise defense for 1 turn. They don't get defense on super in their passive. So they could take a lot of damage. How much do you heal with your active skill? 30% HP, and we're on... Yeah, see, that puts us over the transformation level, which is a bit risky. But then, of course, if they do get hit in the end for a lot of damage, we'll drop back underneath the transformation level. Oh, man, this is... It's tough to know what to do here, because we are really, like, playing with the possibility of getting 16. I guess let me do this. I mean, I suppose, again, here, if all I really want to do is make sure we get to see Android 16 against SYN, I could use an item again, but... Man, it's a tricky situation here, unfortunately. So, we'll do this. Of course, there's then also the possibility... Okay, no, we actually, yeah, because we know he can't super, I was going to say, because if he ends up supering... if he ends up supering 16 and 18 at the end, we would die. But... Man, it's hard to know what to do here, because... I think Metal Cooler's not fully built up. So the first hit he takes, he might actually take some damage. And if he takes more than, like, 70k... then if these guys don't guard at the end, they're probably getting killed. So I think what we'll do is we'll just do this. I don't want to have come all this way and then these guys mess it up at the end. Because actually, now that we see the orbs, I maybe should have played that out better. They're now not going to get a super, so they're not going to get their defense raise. So that's awkward. Yeah, Metal Cooler was fully built up. So I mean, this is the problem, like I said, right? The hoops that we're kind of jumping through here to see Android 16 come out. Metal Cooler doing an 8 million attack stat here is pretty good. We just now have to hope that Piccolo Jr. doesn't go too crazy. And then as long as 16 and 18 guard at the end, then we'll be fine to see the next turn. I think we'll be okay if they don't guard, because they have 200k defense and we have 40% damage reduction. I think they're probably still taking, what, at least 100k from Omega, though? If they don't guard, I mean. So... it's going to be very risky. Piccolo, after getting multiple supers with the Whis active, will just take double-digit damage, so that's fine. But can we actually get 16 finally out in one of these events? Because if you watched the Fusion Zamasu video yesterday, it's so frustrating, just multiple attempts in that run, and we could not get him to come out. So fortunately, even though they didn't guard, we're still good. So... now we can get all of the active skills. So we'll get 16 out. Very rare that we actually get to do this. So let's go ahead and get Super 17 out here as well. Man, I love everything about this unit aesthetically. Like, you guys know, if you're not new to the channel, I'm a huge fan of Super 17. One of the few things from GT that I actually like. But man, it was so disappointing when this unit came out, because... the potential is there, but his design is just so weirdly done. Honestly, very disappointing. And because we've got low HP, we can see the super attack here. I think with the Whis active, do we just die immediately here? How many times is he attacking before he supers? None. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah, I don't know if... do we even live the turn here? Because... 16 will get killed, I think, by the super. Frieza has lost most of his damage reduction. Yeah, it's turn 9, and he was on turn 3. So we've had turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's been like 7 turns. So he's basically lost all of his damage reduction. And this is the infuriating example that we have seen. I think this happened in one of the Fusion Zamasu clips, where it's like, we finally get to a turn where we can get 16 out, and then we can't even really do anything with him. So, that is incredibly frustrating. Will Super 17 die here? Oh, I was literally about to say, imagine if he dodges. What an absolute goat. You love to see it. He got the dodge. Unbelievable. Alright, well... 7.7 million, man. I wish this STR Super 17 had been so much better. Like, look at this super attack animation. It's so cool. He's just, it takes all this time to get, that's another thing to point out. We only just managed to get a fusion into 17 on turn 9. Or we haven't been keeping them on main rotation, but only just managed to get him to come out on turn 9. And then when he comes out, he needs to build up before he's then at his full potential. So a lot of mistakes were made with his design, I think. But there you go. 16 out of 16 mil without any support on the rotation. Unfortunately, we didn't have a full androids ally, so we didn't get the additional super. Man. So yeah, we finally get 16 out, and it's not even on a turn where he's able to do particularly well. It's just overall very, very disappointing. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section of the LR androids. I've seen it, like, looking back on the previous videos, obviously people are generally impressed with their performance, but I think as we talked about in like the actual video I put up against the Fusion Zamasu, it's mostly their team that is just kind of letting them down, right? Because these teams are not particularly good, the Android based teams. And then obviously we have the Android 21 team, which, I mean, they're only getting a 170 lead, which is fine for the most part. But like 21's not good against these bosses with AoEs. So it just becomes really difficult to actually get to see the LR Android's full potential. Because I'm really happy with how they are in base. But it's just like 16 is cool, right? He's a massive damage dealer, like post super, he's got over 1 million defense. Like you want to see him come out and actually use him. It just doesn't really seem like it happens that much. Like since this EZA dropped, all the videos I've put out and the few times I've used them testing out some other teams and events like off video, it's just so difficult to get him out sometimes unless you get that lucky rotation where you just take a big super, then there on the next turn you can bring him out, heal up a bit, and then sort of go from there. But it just feels like whenever you really want to see it, you just don't get it, which is really disappointing. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I might do a tier list for the yellow coin LRs maybe tomorrow. So let me know where you would place these guys. I mean, even given the disappointment with how commonly you'll see Android 16 come out, I think they would still be very high on that list. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.